Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another season of the Virtual Drift Championship. We're starting off today here at Road Atlanta, and with me, as always, is Tanner. Tanner, what's going on, man? I've missed you.
Oh man, it's been so long, Craig. It's great to be back and great to be here with everybody and the Virtual Drift Championship Season 5.
Absolutely, it's been a long break and a crazy year, but we're back again, starting it here at Road Atlanta. Super excited. Very technical track. Big long entry, and then coming up the hill the way you do, and going through that decel zone. We'll actually bring up the qualifying rules today. Drivers are given 2 non-consecutive judge laps to qualify, and the highest score counts. Tiebreakers are determined by the lower qualifying score. Each qualifying run is judged on line, angle, and impact. So a little different there. No longer style, we're going with impact. Line is that ideal path a vehicle must take on course that is marked by inner clipping points and outer clipping zones. And angle is the slip angle of the car throughout the given run and how well the driver controls it. So not only the amount of angle that they have, but how well they control it as well. And then that new one, impact, is defined by the overall commitment throughout the run. The big part of this category is to reward aggressive drivers who demonstrate excellent car control at all times. So drivers that are really putting it all out there throughout the whole entire run, real smooth through their transitions, big on angle, hard on throttle all the way through that course, and you know, just overall commitment throughout.
Yeah, exactly. It's really a nice rule to see now that change from style to this impact and really just how well they impact the run. That's the easiest way to put it, you know. Was it exciting? Was it awesome to see? Did he flick to angle right away, stay on it, stay on the gas, no waivers in the wheel, and just tear through the course, make sure to abide by, you know, all the brakings, all the decel zones and the line map itself, but super excited to see what these drivers can do today.
Absolutely, and the way the judges are going to score it today is a little bit different than normal. So each judge will score the entire run with a maximum of 100 points. So no longer one judge is the line judge, one judge is the angle judge, one judge is the impact judge. Everybody is judging on the same criteria and judging from 100 points and down, so making deductions as those drivers make it through the course. Then the 3 scores from those 3 judges will be averaged, which will then give that driver their qualifying score today. So a little different.
Little different, but it's a really interesting system, and I again, we've seen it for those guys. I mean, us over here in North America, we don't see it too much, but the guys over in the UK and, you know, with the VDC and all them, they use this system, and it's a great system. I think it works very well, and I'm excited to bring it here to the Virtual Drift Championship.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see the new scores today, and from what I've been watching in practice, man, it's gonna be tough today. I'm gonna guess 85s and higher to make it in to top 32.
Oh, for sure. If not, and I mean, the gap between each of these drivers, they've been working so hard in the off season. A lot of new rookies coming into it too from last year's feeder series. So it's going to be an all-out battle in this first round. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Looking at the Discord, it really looks like almost everybody showed up today. We'll go to the line map, our last and final one to look at here. As you see at the top right of your screen, you have the entry point there. The earliest that they can enter, they'll have 3 cones, your 3, 2, 1 cones, that last line there marking your last entry point, and then that big decel zone. And really emphasizing later on today in battles for a chase driver to, you know, not run through that lead driver. But we'll get into that a little bit more. Of course, lead driver can't, you know, come to a stop on that entry, as well as through qualifying. It needs to be real nice and smooth across that inner clip there. But one note to pay attention to, much like last season, the judges didn't want those lead drivers and in qualifying to drop tires on those inner rumble strips going up the hill and down the hill. This year, minor change, they can drop 1 tire going up the hill on that inner clip, and then of course they can use all of that rumble strip going up the hill on the outside there into that second outside zone, back on throttle through the horseshoe and back down the hill, again staying off those inner rumble strips.
Yeah, gotta keep off those strips. But this track's always so much fun. It's always great to see everybody on it, and you know, especially with that slight rule change, we're allowed to put one tire on. That could really make or break someone's run. Just being able to get that little bit more, hold that angle just a little bit more through the first clipping zone, and that's one that really matters and can catch a lot of drivers up on this track, is that first clipping zone.
Absolutely, definitely. So we'll have to take just a short break here while we set up the servers and get our first group of qualifying in. So give us just a few moments and we'll be right back with you. Hello and welcome back. We are live. We've got the servers up and going. Group 1 is loaded in, and a nice group we have to start out the first round of the season, and it's qualifying. We'll start with Russell Jones, move into Hayden Winter, Tobias Thormanson, Stephen Green, Kevin Stump, Nikitas Fakar, Mick Jeffrey, and Jordan L. Nasser, all in that first group. They will go one after another, but they will not make their runs back to back. They'll make a run, the next driver will make their run, and then we'll go back to the beginning of the list and they'll make their second runs. We're just waiting on them to get their little bit of practice in before we start out their group. Big shout out to Grip Royal for sponsoring us this season with the trophy wheel for the championship winner, and boy, I can't wait to show off that wheel.
So good, so excited for everybody to get a chance to see it. But looking at this first group of qualifying, quite a few rookies from the feeder series in this first group, so it's exciting to see what these guys can put down. I'm sure some of them will be under a little bit of pressure for it being their first time in the pro circuit and coming into this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Got Russell Jones up first, driving around the track. We'll wait for him to come back to the line, and then we'll start it off. Round 1.
It's so nice to be back, though. I definitely, the off season there, where there was a lot of work put in, as I'm sure everyone watching the live stream can see. Craig and you and Dion did a lot of work there with that, and I think there was others involved. I might be wrong on that.
Absolutely. So Matt, Dion, me, and another guy, Ali Yusuf, came forward and helped us big time with the live stream this season. And look at here, we're off for the first run of season 5. Russell Jones.
Yeah, Russell Jones sending it in, getting into that first zone really nicely as he comes into the second clip, into that outside, trying to get the car to settle out before coming while trying to get up that hill. As he brings it into that inside, grabs it really nicely, transitions to start heading back down the hill. Can he get that inside clip? Yes, he does, as he transitions one final time before crossing that line and starting out season 5 strong.
He sure did. See what type of score he ends up getting, as Hayden Winter is already sitting at the line there.
Score has come in for Russell Jones, looking like an 85.3 for Russell as we move on to Hayden Winter now. Hayden Winter definitely getting it in, missing out on that first inside clip though as he comes up the hill, 2 tires up on that rumble strip, which is okay as he kicks up a little bit of dirt as he comes around the horseshoe, grabbing the inside clip nicely as he comes back down the hill and tries to get the car good for that inside clip. One last transition again before he comes across that line.
Yeah, really good run from Hayden Winter there as well.
Like we said at the beginning of the show, it's going to be tough competition for everybody. So everyone has to bring their A game in this opening round of the Season 5 of the Virtual Drift Championship.
And there we have Russell Jones' score up on the board, 85.3. There's Hayden Winter, 78.5 for his first run, and we're moving on to Tobias Thormundson. Decent little entry there by Tobias in his E46, and up the hill he goes. Little wobble there. And a nice line into that second outside zone. Little off the inside clip there. And a good transition down the hill. Big angle there. Across the inside clip. Final transition. We're going a little wide, but keeps it on course.
Again, just seeing the level of these drivers, and just only in the first round, they're only going to get stronger for these rookies. They're going to get better as we move on to our next driver now. Steven Green. Steven Green in that nice blue R32 as he initiates in, grabs that inside clip, transitions, tries to get it to angle on that second inside, but just really couldn't make it, leaving the outside zone really early. Yeah, he's not looking good on this one as he just straightens out there trying to get into the horseshoe. He's going to complete the run, but I'm almost going to bet that's going to be a 0.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate one for Steven Green there on his first run of the day, but that's all right. He has another run to make it better and get some points on that board. And now Kevin Stump back in his S14, looking good with the new livery here. Making the transition up the hill. And just solid on that line. Fills that second outside zone as well and tight to the inside clip. Having a returning driver from last season. And doing well last season. Here he is for his first run and looking good again.
Being one of the few of the already pro drivers, definitely has got to show the new guys what's got to be done. As he comes in also with an 85.3. Now we're on to Mick Jeffrey, leaving the gate clean, coming down that hill. Oops.
No, I believe we're on to Nikitas Fakar.
That is right.
List a little wrong there, but Nikitas looking good on his run.
Nikitas getting around the horseshoe clean as he's getting on that power to come back down the hill. Good angle as he comes into that second to last inside clip and comes across that line. Very nice run by Nikitas.
Now to make Jeffrey as he is at the line, waiting to go. And changing cars this season to the S13. Wasn't that Boss S14 last season, if you remember?
Sure do.
Here he goes, entering in. It was. He had a couple of really nice liveries on it as well. Nice transition up the hill. Getting all the way up to the top, filling that zone. And looking pretty planted here.
Yeah, really maxed out on the angle there, coming up the hill and just hung onto it the whole way around that horseshoe. Very nice run there by Mick Jeffrey.
There it is, 84.7. Good run.
Very good for his first run. And now on to Jordan El Nasser in that Dodge Viper.
Looking so good, I must say.
Beautiful car. I'm happy to see it all finished up as he initiates in. Transitions, brings that Viper up the hill. Doing a good job. Very quick through the course so far. Nice and speedy on that angle though. Coming back down that hill. Grabbing the inside clip as well. A little bit off, but other than that, very beautiful run for his first run out.
It sure was, and crazy transition to finish out the run there as well, putting maybe a little bonus points on there. See what kind of score he gets. And on to Russell Jones already. Russell entering in, sitting on that 85.3 for his first run. And again, you'll see weird decimal points this time with our averaging system. All three judges are scoring from 100 points down. And then those three scores get averaged. And Russell Jones making a statement with his second run.
Very on throttle, very good on all of his clipping points, just making sure he's putting the car in the right space to get as many points as he can. Looking like for his second run there, an 83.7 for Russell Jones. We have Hayden Winter coming for his second run, sitting on that 79.3, so Hayden's definitely going to want to get this up as he just goes a little wide for that first inside clip. Now coming up the hill, a little bit of an e-brake pull as he comes up to the top. A good angle around the horseshoe and good transition to come back down the hill. Fills that inside clip and does the final transition. Another nice run there from Hayden Winter.
It sure was. Rookie coming out and putting some nice scores on the board.
An 84 for that run, so very good job for his second run.
Next up, Tobias Stormanson. Entering in really fast there and up the hill. Little bobble again on that first transition going up the hill, but holds it together all the way up. This time tight to that inner clip. Back down he goes, going a little wide. He's going to tuck into that inner clip. Last and final transition and across that finish line.
And 79.7 there for Tobias' second run. We have Stephen Green now coming down the hill. Interesting initiation there for Steven. He is sitting on a 52. But just couldn't get the car into that outside zone. Tries to negotiate it around the horseshoe, come back down the hill. Can he grab that inside clip? He does. Transitions again and finishes out his run.
Yeah, not too bad from Stephen Green there. Definitely better in that first run of a 52. We'll see what the score is, but I'm not sure if that is going to be enough to push him on into top 32. Again, this is still first group. Anything can happen, but I think scores are going to be super high today to get into that top 32. And here we go with Kevin Stump down the hill, entering in. Coming off that 85.3 for his first run. And up the hill. Napping onto that big angle there in that decel zone. And looking good again here on his second run of the day. Finishing it out smooth, Kevin Stump.
Yeah, really just putting the car where it kind of needs to be and putting it in all the right places. Yes, I do. Oh, you do?
And here we go, Nikitas Fakar down the hill. Again, something going on with the sound of that car. Is definitely a little awkward. I don't know if it is the same for you, Tanner.
No, his sound sounds pretty good for me.
Getting some engine and then some not engine. Oh no, Nikitas!
Ooh, came out a little too hard out of the horseshoe with that transition, and the car just over-rotates as it tries to get it back.
That's going to be a 0 for him. But he's sitting on that 79. We'll have to wait and see if that will be enough to push him on into that top 32.
There's still a lot of drivers left to go as Mick Jeffrey comes in for his second run. very quick into that first inside clip, gets it spun around for the second one, putting the car nice and deep into the outer zone, just touching that white line as he comes across the second outer zone. Beautiful job around the horseshoe, really going for it here on his second qualifying run is Mick Jeffrey, as he puts just one tire up on the curb there and comes across that line.
Yeah, really good showing by Mick there on his second run, trying to better the 84.7, and it looks like he's going to with an 85.3. I believe our last driver, last run for the first group of qualifying. Jordan El Nasser entering in really nice with that Dodge Viper up the hill and putting his foot to the floor. Ooh, comes up a little short there, trying to fill out that second outside zone. But tight to that inner clip, back down the hill he goes. Nice line there. Last and final transition. Ooh, be careful. And he finishes it out. Really
Holding
going
on
for
to
it there.
everything. Definitely holding out there at the end, trying to make sure to keep it at least on course.
Absolutely. So that is it for the first group. We'll take a short break, load in the second group, and we'll be right back with some more qualifying. Welcome back. We've got the second group loaded in. As you can see, they're taking their last and final practice runs here down the track. Looks like they're going for a big train. We'll bring up those current qualifying scores. Currently, we have Russell Jones up top with that 85.3, along with Kevin Stump and Mick Jeffrey all tied for third place right now. We'll have to check those lower scores. Obviously, Russell Jones is sitting at that number one spot. Hayden Winter with the 84 right behind him. Tobias Thorensen with a 80.3. Jordan El Nasser with a 79.3. Nikitas Fakar with that 79. Stephen Green with that low 56.3. But first up in Group 2 will be Connor Shanahan.
If there's one guy that knows how to show everybody how it's done, well, it's Mr. Connor. He'll come out and show us probably a perfect run.
It's a good chance. I mean, you know, I don't want a commentator's curse the man or anything. But here he goes, going for the big swing in. On throttle. Looking good on line here. Big snap to angle as well, up the hill. Using all of that rumble strip and getting all the way to the top of the hill. Filling that second outside zone as well. And here he comes back down the hill in his Red Bull S15. Staying tight to the inside clip. Last transition. Looking good, Connor Shanahan.
His transitions were so snappy, right to angle, got back on the power exactly when he needed to. Very good job from Connor Shanahan.
And look at there, a 90.3, and he puts himself on the top.
As we got David Silva now having to follow up from Connor Shanahan, but we're sure David can lay it down. He transitions to come up the hill. Not as snappy, but again, making it work, putting the car where it needs to go. Coming around that horseshoe, nice and tight to that inside clip. Good transition to come back down the hill and set himself up for that the next two inside clips. Look at that, just nice and beautiful through it. Good job there from David Silva.
Yeah, wonderful way to start qualifying. And at 84, good score from David Silva. And probably our most unique car, but another one where, yeah, we're having sound issues with it. But man, this thing is awesome. Took the chance to drive this thing around this course. And Alexander looking good for his first run as well. This thing is super planted, is still live axle rear. And looking great. It actually shares almost the same wheelbase as a Corvette C6. So, yeah, not too small as well. You know, it looks real tiny, but, yeah, a good sized car. And look at there, 87.3 on the board for Alexander Holzner to start out round one in his first run.
As we move on to Lazam now. In that A90 Supra, first one of the day. He initiates in, gets nice and tight to the first inside clip. Little slow transition coming up the hill. Ooh, dropping a tire off that rumble strip. Kicking up a bit of dirt in the second outside zone, but keeping it nice and tight to the inside as he transitions back down the hill. Just coming a little shy off that, but grabbing the next inside clip beautifully and finishing out his run.
Yeah, great run from Lazam, returning driver, changing chassis. He's always been in a GTR and now switching to that A90 Supra and looking good. 81 on the board to start it off, and he works himself into that first top 8. Next we have Magomed Omarov from RDS. Entering in with this S13, looking tight to the inside clip. Ooh, a little tentative on that first transition going up the hill, starting to get it together. Oh, he's going to go off. Can he hold it? He certainly does. Ends up staying tight to the inside clip as well. Good job holding this run together. And he'll finish it out all right. We'll have to wait and see from the judges how big those deductions are going to be for going off and that little bit of tentativeness going up the hill in that first transition.
I think that's our first 2-tire off for the day, so it'll be interesting to see how that does affect with the averaging system that's now being used for this year.
And he gets a 75 on the board, so not bad at all. We've got Steven Hatcher and his new RX-8. This thing sounds so crazy.
It sounds great, and it's good to see a fellow Canadian still here in the Virtual Drift Championships. He sends it in, goes a little wide to that first inside clip, but makes up for it on the second one. Really throwing it in for the two outside zones as he keeps nice and tight around the inside clip coming out of the horseshoe. Transitions nicely as he gets it, puts the car to that inside zone, and goes really wide on the exit, dropping those two tires over that curb.
Yeah, it was looking really good. Did drop that little bit off on the end there. I believe that's going to be it. The 73 for Steven Hatcher to start out his qualifying round one Road Atlanta. And Victor Alves next in that D-Max S15. Same livery as Yokoi. Looking really good on entry here. Dropping down onto that rumble strip, which the drivers are allowed to do this season. And really tight to the inside clip there. Good transition coming down the hill. Staying on throttle, fully committed. And finishing it out.
Very nice run from Victor there. As we go back up to the top. Victor coming in with an 89.3 for his run.
And puts him second place.
That does, right behind this man, Connor Shanahan, sitting on that 90.3. Huge angle coming into that first outside zone as he sends it up the hill, get nice and tight onto that rumble strip, following that yellow line and the white line through the second outer zone. Look at that angle he's throwing down as he transitions to go back down the hill. Little shallow off of that last inside clip, but overall a beautiful job from Connor.
Yeah, it was certainly going to be tough to beat that 90.3. We'll see if he does it here on his second run, waiting on that last judge to come in. It's not the 57.7. It can't be.
There we go.
There it is, 85.3. A good showing by Connor Shanahan, as always. And we're moving on to David Silva, currently sitting with that 84 in 8th place. And a good entry from David Silva here as he goes up the hill. Little too tight there, dropping 2 tires on that rumble strip. But getting all the way to the top of the hill there, just a tiny tire drop. But tight to the inside clip as well. Big angle coming down the hill. Oh, too much angle. He's going to end up 2 inside. But finishes it out all right. And again, still sitting on that 84. It's a good score. We'll have to wait and see how the day plays out.
As we move on to our next driver, Alexander Holstner, in that Team RPM Volvo, I believe it is.
Yeah, I'll have to fix his sound here. Coming up the hill, just, dead silent here. I do apologize to the stream, everybody watching, and Alexander Holstner. We'll get your sound fixed for the stream, but the run looking killer.
Putting it together, that's for sure. I mean, it's an economy car. It's maybe it has mufflers on it. That's why it's so quiet.
Yeah, that's what it is. No, actually, if I remember correctly, he opted in for the Mass Motorsports 427 in that thing. Yeah, that thing is just rocking and rolling. 87.7 he puts on the board and is now in 3rd place in qualifying.
And even if you look at his last score with that 87.3, that's going to put him in a good position with this averaging system where if someone ties his score, he has a good backup score to really help him solidify his position. Leslie Zam now making his way through the course, doing a really nice job, a lot more put together. Very smooth through all his transitions, putting the car where it needs to go. Little waver there as he came down the hill trying to settle out the car. But again, nice, beautiful run from Alexander, who's already sitting on an 81.
See those scores add up, 83.7, so he betters the 81 and moves up just a little bit. Back to Magomed Omarov. Nice subtle flick entry there, riding that rumble strip. And good line going up the hill. Trying to get all the way up there, and he does. Riding that white line. And a good transition back down the hill as well. Tight to the inside clip. Last and final one. And great run by Magomed there. Sitting on the 75, trying to beat that. It is going to be tough to get into top 32. 86.3, look at there. Great score by Magomed. I hope I'm saying that right. But we're back around to Stephen Hatcher.
Stephen Hatcher bouncing it off the limiter of that RX-8 and that beautiful sounding rotary. He really puts it in for that first inside clip. Just speeding up the hill. Look at that angle coming into the horseshoe and holding it the whole way around. He transitions and gets set up for the downhill section. Again, he's putting the car exactly where it needs to go. Beautiful run done by Steven. I believe that's going to beat his 73 that he's sitting on. And it sure does.
Absolutely. 86 on the board for Stephen Hatcher, previous champion as well. Coming back to try and claim that title once again. And we're back around to Victor Alves. Last and final driver from Group 2. Went for the bigger flick this time. Washes a little wide there. Makes the transition. Gonna get out a little wide too early. But ends up filling both of those zones. And grabbing that inside clip again as well. Good showing here from Victor Alves. Still sitting second place with that 89.3.
A lot of these guys are coming out super strong in this first round. I mean, we're only 2 groups in. Looking at the scores, it's going to be so close.
Absolutely, and you can see it there. Scores are super high already. Connor Shanahan still sitting 90.3 at that #1 spot. Going all the way down to Stephen Green sitting on that 56. But everybody before him is almost into those 80s. Nikitas Fakar 79, Jordan El Nasser 79.3. Scores are high. We'll take a short break and load in Group 3, and we'll be right back. And we're back, as you can see them screaming across the line there. We are on to Group 3. I believe Sarunas is at the line waiting. He certainly is. Waiting on judges to send him off. We'll start Group 3 of qualifying. Round 1, Road Atlanta. Sarunas back in his Mustang. And checking him out in practice over the week, he was looking super solid. He goes a little wide there across the first inside clip, but nice transition. Here he comes up the hill, pouring on the big angle. Oh boy, holding it onto the course right on the edge there. Nice transition down the hill. Still rocking that Bushido style on the side of his Mustang. And finishing out his first run of the season.
Not too shabby. Still looks like a couple pre-run nerves to shake off there. Just dropping a tire here and there, but doing a good job overall.
Absolutely. Great run. That 83 he'll put on the board.
As we have Anthony Serrano now in that big Lexus as he sends it in. Getting on throttle, coming up the hill, grabbing the second clip like it's no tomorrow, coming up and over the hill into the outside zones. A little bounce there as he goes into the grass with one of the tires, but keeping it together as he gets ready for the downhill. Grabs the second to last inside clip and the last one. Overall, a clean run aside from the one tire drop.
It certainly was. Anthony returning in the RCF and looking good in it. I believe we're waiting on one more judge. There it is, 89.7, big score for Anthony Serrano, putting him in second place. And on to Augusto Ferreira. And big entry from Augusto. Nice transition going up the hill, foot to the floor. Nice into that second outside zone as well. And here he comes down the hill. Still foot to the floor. The commitment in this run is heavy. And he finishes it out good.
Wow, looking at that entry, that was almost a backwards entry into that first clip. That was a lot right there, and to stay committed into it, good job from Augusto.
And look at there, 80.3 for Augusto Ferreira on his first run. And on to Derek Bardot.
Derek Bardot making his way down the hill, initiates in. Putting the car right at the edge of that front clip. He climbs up the hill. Good job coming through the first outside zone. Right along the white line for the second. Doing a good job around the horseshoe. Transitions back. Just a nice, beautiful, smooth run from Derek. He comes across that line and straightens up.
Certainly, and really staying on it all the way through that run, just on the limiter, on throttle. Let's see what type of score he gets, and an 88 on the board.
Am I seeing this right? Is this Mauricia in an RX-7?
It certainly is, and this thing is wild. And flying up the hill in his new FC RX-7, Fire Bentley Mauricia. This guy makes some crazy 3D models, and this is just one example of it. Flying down the hill, banging off the limiter. Longtime VDC driver as well. He's been with us for a couple seasons now and looking good on his first run of season 5.
And the score to show it as he comes in with an 85.7.
and works right on into that top 8.
But now another threat on the table. Our rookie of the year for season 4, Alexander Element, in that Origins S14, making his way up the hill. Nice along that back, the outside zone into the second outside zone. Beautifully tight through the horseshoe as he comes back down that hill, putting the car again exactly where it needs to go, and what kind of to be expected from, well, the rookie of the year from season 4.
Correction. Connor Shanahan actually ended up being rookie of the year from last season, and Element fell just shy of it. I hate that you even brought it up, but look at there, he puts a 90 onto the board for his first run.
Redemption, I guess, for me screwing that up.
And here we go with Chris Walker in his E92, entering in. Oh no, and has to make a big correction there. Looks like he just didn't have the speed coming down the hill when he entered. But here he goes, cleaning the run up. Nice and tight to the inside clip. Snappy transition going down the hill there. Last and final one. And he finishes it out pretty good.
He certainly does. And it's going to be something that these guys, especially the newer guys to the championship, are going to have to try and get over those pre-run nerves. I know it's hard for everybody, but some of the guys that have been doing this a lot longer, you know, they kind of get to this line and go, oh, okay, it's another day at work. When we've all experienced it, you're sitting at that line waiting to hear that judge tell you to go, and oh, you feel your heart rate shoot through the roof.
Absolutely. The season I drove, season 2, yeah, the first run I double zeroed in qualifying. I just couldn't do it. The nerves got to me too much.
I feel you there as we have Zach O'Sullivan now coming down the hill. Nice entry as he comes up the hill now, grabbing that inside clip nicely along that outer zone. Doing a good job through the horseshoe section as he transitions and comes down the hill, grabbing that inside clip nicely, and the last inside clip, and a good job from Zach O'Sullivan.
Yeah, I really like that run by Zach there. A lot of commitment throughout the entire run there, really on the throttle throughout, and held his angle as well. Could have used a little bit more, but look at that, number 1 qualifier, 92.3. Great job by Zach O'Sullivan there. Great to see. Here we go with Sarunas. Oh.
Yeah, Sarunas coming down that hill. Initiating in and climbing up. Ooh, dropping a little tire there off of that curb, but keeping it together. Transitioning back down the hill now. Beautiful job on that inside clip and on the last one as well. Another solid run there from Sarunas, who's already sitting on an 83.3, but now seeing the rest of the scores just from Group 3. There it is. That's a better score.
There it is, yeah, 88.3 for Sarunas on his second run. The normal Sarunas, I guess we're used to seeing. He's a very good qualifying driver. And he shows it once again here in the first round of Season 5. On to Anthony Serrano for his second run. Trying to better an 89.7, already a high score. Little off that first inside clip. Grabs that second, and nice going up the hill. Oh, just a little off there on that second outside zone, but holds it together. Grabs the inside clip. Transitions back down the hill. Last and final one, and across that finish line. Oh, a little off there, but guess technically that is past that finish line. Like to see him hold it together a little bit better there. But again, still at 89.7 on the board. And at 82.3. Great second score, which could be used as a tiebreaker later on today.
And by the looks of these scores, that's probably going to be needed. As we move on back over to Augusto Ferreira, sitting on that 80.3 as he really goes for it on that entry. Tries transition up the hill, a little hesitant off throttle there, but gets back on it right nice and quick. We come up the hill and around the horseshoe, nice and tight to that inside clip. Transitions once again, sets himself up for the inside clip coming down the hill, and the final one there, lots of angle coming out and finishing off the run.
Man, Augusto looking super smooth this season. And a 86 for his second run. Great score by Augusto Ferreira in the first round. And Derek Bardot coming down for his second run, trying to better the 88. Currently sitting 7th. Goes for that big entry, dropping one tire on that rumble strip. And another there. They can on that second rumble strip, but not that first one. So small deduction, but after that, boy, this run is looking good. Nice transition back down the hill, pouring on the angle there, and grabs that inside clip. Last and final one, and he'll finish it out strong again.
And Derek really going for it on that run, leaving no cards left on the table. Really just planting his foot to the floor and getting the job done.
And look at there, he ties the score with another 88. So he'll remain in 7th position for now, and we'll move on to Choir Valley Mauricia.
Mauricia again in that decked out FC RX-7, coming down the hill. Nice flick initiation in, almost going backwards as he comes through that first clip. Look at him climb up the hill, the speed of that FC. He beautifully gets through the outside zones, tries to, little tentative kind of coming into that inside clip, but makes it work. As he comes down the hill now through the last 2 inside clips and across the line.
Yeah, not too bad from Mauricia there. I don't know if it's going to be enough to beat that 85.7. Really throwing it out there on that second run. And look at there, he does. 86.7 betters it by exactly 1 point. And on to Alexander Element. Going for the bigger flick initiation this time. Grabbing throttle and tight to that first inside clip. And here he goes up the hill. Using that decel zone there. Back on throttle and filling that second outside zone. Good transition down the hill. Last and final one, and looking good. He'll finish it out with another really solid run there. Trying to better that 90. See if he does. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see that second score, but here we go with Chris Walker.
No problem. Quickly, he did get a 90, so he matched his score as Chris Walker tries to better his score of a 69.7. He tries to get it up the hill there, struggling a little bit on that top of the hill section, but cleaning up the run there through the rest of the horseshoe as he goes for the last 2 inside clips. And doing a good job at it, so hopefully that'll save up for the little bit of a slowdown there coming to the top of the hill.
Yeah, I think overall a better run than his first one, making that big mistake on the entry on his first run. And look at there, 82.3, good run from Chris Walker. Back to our current #1 qualifier, Zach O'Sullivan. It was awesome to see him at the top of that board for his first run, 92.3. Entering in tight across that first inside clip. Really good going up the hill as well. Oh boy, all the angle. And holds it together, fills the zone. Great transition down the hill, nice and smooth. Oh, does angle up just a little bit there across that second inside clip, but finishes out the run.
That was a wild two outer zone section, he just stayed planted on that throttle and did not let off.
He certainly did. And look at there, a good second score. Doesn't quite beat it, 91.3, but he'll hold on to that number one qualifying position. We'll take a short break, load in Group 3, and we'll get right back to qualifying.
Group 4.
Group 4. Welcome back. We've got the next group loaded in. And another exciting group. We'll start it off with Pontus Jakobsen, Marcus Lundqvist, Tikon Pileski, Shoma Takaya, Max Hingai, Al Fonseca, Eric Osterkus, and Stiggs Sorensen. See them all taking their last and final practice laps. We'll start it off with Pontus in his new RX-7. Here we go, first run of Group 4. Pontus Jakobsen in his new RX-7, and this thing sounds crazy as well. Oh no, and he's gonna wash wide for the first inside clip. Here he comes up the hill, getting it back together and getting all the way to the top of the hill. Following that line the judges have asked for, and back down the hill. Back on throttle, makes a little waver there coming down to that inside clip, but finishes it off really well.
Yeah, just that one mistake of missing out that clipping point, but still puts down a decent score.
He certainly does, an 85.3 for Pontus Jacobsen.
We move to our second driver here, Marcus, Mr. Pink Drifter Lundqvist. He initiates in. Just coming shy again, washing a little wide, so that's going to throw his line off coming up the hill, but he does make the adjustments and gets it back to where the car needs to be. So he comes around that horseshoe and then transitions for the back down of the hill. Cleaning it up though, grabbing that inside clip nicely, and the final inside clip almost bang on perfect.
Yeah, it certainly was. Great run from Marcus Lundqvist there. You see those scores getting added up. And our previous champion coming to the line at 85.7 for Marcus Lundqvist on his first run of the season. And again, we've got our Season 4 champion at the line, ready to go for his first qualifying run of the season. Tikhon Pilecki back in the same car as well. Really going for the big flick. Little off the inside clip. And nice to the second one, and up the hill he comes. Pouring on the angle is Tikhon. Trying to fill that second zone, and he does. Looking really nice around that inside clip as well. Good transition. And he's going to finish out this run. Fantastic.
Tikhon really coming out and showing why he was last year's champion. Just laying it all down.
And look at there, a 91.3 for Tikhon Pilecki, putting him into second place.
As we have Shoma Takaya now, and I believe he's in a new car as well. From last year as he initiates in, coming up the hill. A little aggressive over the curb there, but still keeping it together. As he comes up through the outside zone and through the inner clip. Transitions back down. A very smooth run from Shoma. Just nicely put together, putting the car again where it needs to go, and finishing out his run.
Yeah, he certainly does. Great start from Shoma. Let's see what score he ends up with. And a solid 90 for Shoma Takaya on his first run. Next we've got Max May from VDC coming over. Leading here in the Virtual Drift Championship and on throttle and looking good so far. Nice transition to come up the hill. His beautiful S15 here and staying on throttle all the way up. Filling that second outside zone as well. Coming back down the hill. That's the final transition. Whoa, and overdoes it just a little bit there. That's going to be really close as well, how close he was to that finish line, and whether judges will give him a score for that run.
Yeah, worst case, they're going to deduct definitely from the line. Just from that last little bit, is they do expect them to go all the way out to that curb, so
absolutely
it will be interesting.
Yeah, and they are. They're going to give him some points, and 74.7 started out. On to Cal Fonseca, returning driver, changing to this S15 from the A90 Supra from last year. Still with the Sculco Drift family and transitioning up the hill and looking good so far in the S15. Good line there through the horseshoe, pouring on the angle before he makes that transition down the hill. Hangs on to it really well here. Last and final one. And across that finish line, Cal Fonseca.
A little popcorn maker, that car.
It certainly is.
I'll blow my poor speakers out with the amount that thing's popping.
Absolutely. 89.3. Good run from Cal Fonseca to start it off.
We have Erica Jerkis now in his BMW from last year. Good initiation in as he grabs that first inside clip and gets on the power to come up the hill, following that nice outside line through both the outside clips, nice and tight through the inside at the end of the horseshoe, transitions and gets set up for the downhill. And look at that, beautifully across both of those last two inside clips.
Yeah, veteran driver Eric Osterkus, I want to say he started driving season 1 of VDC, so he's been with us all 5 seasons, if I'm correct. And look at there, 89.7 for his first run of season 5. Now on to Stig Sorensen. His awesome Volkswagen here, entering in, little off that first inside clip, washes him wide, but he grabs that second one. Oh, big correction there coming up the hill, almost straightened, gets it together, does drop a tire there along that outside zone, but manages to catch the inside clip still, goes a little wide coming out of the horseshoe there, and holds it together.
A few things to patch up on for his first run when he goes for his second, but I'm sure he'll figure those out. We move back up to the top of the hill now with Pontus Jakobsen sitting on that 85.3, so I'm sure he's definitely going to want to improve it a little bit, as looking at these scores being so close. Going to want a good backup score in case a tiebreaker ends up happening. As he initiates in, back on throttle, getting through that first inside clip, not missing it this time as he comes up the hill, following a nice outside line through both the outer zones. Around that horseshoe he comes, nice and tight to the inside clip. He brings it around and down the hill. Getting the inside clips nicely as well, and finishes out his run.
He certainly does, and just firing off that limiter. Trying to beat the 85.3, waiting on that last judge to come in, and he does. 89 on the board for Pontus on his second run. On to Marcus Lundqvist. Oh, and has to make a big correction there on his initiation. Another one there on that first transition, but gets it together here, trying to beat that 85.7, and I'm not sure if that's going to be enough with those 2 corrections entering the course, but cleans it up for sure on his second run.
Alrighty, so Marcus coming in with an 87 on his second run, as we're back to last year's championship winner, Tikhon Pileski, really laying it down on his last run, so now I'm sure he's going to be putting it all out on this one. He comes up that hill, look at that beautiful line. As he comes around the horseshoe and transitions back down the hill. Beautiful, coming through both these inside clips and crossing that line, putting it right out to the edge of that curb. Good job from Tikhon, and we'll see if he improves.
And look at there, he does. A 92 on the board for Tikhon Pileski. That's going to put him right into second place, right up under Zach O'Sullivan with that 92.3. We go with Shoma Takaya sitting on the 90. Let's see if he can improve that just a little bit and maybe knock Zach down off that number 1 qualifying position. Looking good coming up the hill so far. Filling that zone. And good angle coming down the hill. Stays off that rumble strip. Last and final one. Stays off it as well and finishes it out. Very strong from Shoma Takaya there, trying to beat that 90. And a 90.7, just beating that 90 score, and he'll move himself up just a little bit.
As we move over, Maxime Tingai sitting on a 74.7, so he knows he needs to improve it to hopefully get into that top 32 today. But almost looked like a huge straight in there as he came up the hill. That are just really little angle and very off throttle as he comes around the horseshoe now. Does his final second to last transition here as he comes down the hill, the two inside clips, and across the line.
Yeah, trying to beat that 74.7. It does look like he will need to do that to remain in that top 32. And look at there, he does. 80 on the board. Next up, Cal Fonseca. His new S15, no longer in that 8090 Super, sitting on the 89.3. Down the hill he comes. Entering in, riding that rumble strip really nice and tight to that first inside clip, flying through the course here and up the hill. He's going to get all the way up there, filling that outside zone and grabbing that inside clip. Good transition down the hill as well, holding on to that angle. And across the finish line, Cal Fonseca trying to better that 89.3.
Very good showing from Cal, though, making a statement there with that second run. And definitely makes it.
He certainly does, and look at there. 94 on the board, and Cal Fonseca is your new #1 qualifier. And we're on to Erikas Jerkus. And Erikas returning in that same E92.
Yeah, and already sitting on that 89.7, but definitely after seeing a run like that, you know, we'll want to see him put down almost the same as he's coming through the course, putting the car beautifully along that white line right before, down the outside zone just before the end of the horseshoe. As he comes down the hill now, and again, putting the car exactly where it needs to go.
Yeah, really solid run from Erikas. See if he'll beat that 89.7. It's going to be close. 96.3. Look at there. Erikas puts himself in that #1 qualifying position now with that 96.3. And our last and final driver of Group 4, Stig Sorensen, trying to better the 78.7. As these scores come in, it certainly looks like he'll need to do that to make it into top 32. Goes a little wide for that first inside clip. Grabs the second one pretty nice. Does have to shallow up on that angle coming up the hill, but gets to it and filling that second outside zone. Back down the hill. Nice snappy transition, but does go wide. He's going to struggle picking up that inside clip. Grabs the last one and across the finish line. Type of score. Stig Sorensen gets an 84 on the board for Stig Sorensen, putting him in 24th position. So again, new #1 qualifiers. Erikas Jerkus, 96.3. Cal Fonseca with a 94. Zach O'Sullivan with that 92.3. With the previous season's champion, Deacon Pileski with the 92 right behind him. We're going to load in Group 4, and we'll return with some more qualifying.
Group 5.
All right, we're back with Group 5 loaded into the server. They're taking their last little bit of practice runs before we bring Jean Junkus to the line in his new GTR.
Yeah, surprising to see that. I was actually looking at my thing. I was like, who am I focused on? And I was like, oh, it's a whole new car for him.
Absolutely. Well, he is returning in the GTR, but it's a different kid. He's sitting on the left-hand side of the vehicle this time. And I have to say, I mean, the kit looks really good. It's like a GT3, GT2 style kit, but not so, obnoxious with the wide body. And here he goes for his first run. And entering in pretty good there, a little tentative. Snaps to angle coming up the hill in that first transition. Grabs that first outside zone as well. And here he comes back down. Looking good. A little tentative on that last transition, but gets back to it and finishes out his first run of the season. And an 84.7 for Jean Junkus on his first run. And next up, that is Reese Tatterson, not Alan Hines. Reese now driving for Pro Drift Academy.
He sure is, and that's one of the things we were going to talk about was Reese here joining the Pro Drift Academy team and coming to make a statement alongside with Alan Hines, as he is doing a very good job here through this course as he's coming around the horseshoe right now, hitting all the zones beautifully and super quick through it. A lot of grip in that car as he swings it around, grabbing that inside zone, finishing out his run. What a good job for his first run with the Pro Drift Academy.
Absolutely, coming out and making a statement. Let's see what that first score is going to be. And an 89.3 for Reese Tatterson to start things off. Next up, Una Warninen. I believe he came from the feeder series into VDC this season.
He sure did. Very promising, too, from the feeder series as well.
Absolutely, and looking good in this big M4. Staying tight to the inside clip through the keyhole here. Good transition coming out. Car looking smooth. And across the finish line he goes.
Good job for his first time out there, as Yona. And he's a very, very good hopeful there in the feeder series, and now showing what he can do here. Waiting for his score to come on in. There it goes. 87.3 there for Yona's first run, so very good. We got Jonathan Simpson here in this GC8 Subaru.
Yeah, this thing is wild. Such a talented 3D artist. Making this car for himself, and it looks wild.
Just noticing it has the Hawkeye front end on it as well, as he has a huge entry into that first inside clip as he screams up the hill, gets it to angle as he comes through the next two outside zones. Going around the horseshoe, nice and tight. Transitions one more time, staying on that throttle. Brings it through. Could have been a little deeper into that last outside zone, but good enough for me.
Absolutely. Jonathan Simpson looking great on his first run and looking a lot smoother with his internet connection than the previous seasons, which it pays off there. 89 on the board for Jonathan Simpson. That'll put him into 12th place. Here comes Ethan. We like to call him Ethan Pikachu. Entering in with his BMW hatchback here. Oh, has to make a big correction. Very similar to Chris Walker in his run. Drops big time over that rumble strip coming up the hill as well. Does fill the two outside zones and picks up that next inside clip. Nice transition coming back down the hill here. And snappy into the last one as well, and good run from Ethan. Other than that big correction there on his entry, we'll just look to clean that up, but we'll put some points on the board and a 77.7. Lucky sevens.
All the sevens. As we have Jake Wise now coming in that 180 SX. Ooh, dropping one tire as he came into that entry. Tries to make up for it and readjust the car coming up the hill. Right onto that bumper, onto the rumble strip, but cutting into the second outside zone a little early. He makes his way through the horseshoe, gets back on the power, missing out on the outside zone. Just a little shallow there on, or inside zone, and shallow on this last inside zone as well.
Yeah, a couple of things to button up there for his second run, but still ends up with a 79, so not too bad of a score on the board to start it off. Doesn't quite make it in to the top 32 as we see that cutoff point being an 80 already. And on to Martin Merrick, same car that he was using last season, but new livery and looking good here in that purple. And up the hill he comes. Looking pretty smooth so far here. Did really well last season at Knutstorp. Here he is looking good for his first qualifying run. Nice snappy transition to come down the hill there. Just does pick up that inside clip and finishes it out strong.
A very nice run from Martin Marek in that S14.5. Beautiful car too. I love the livery on it. That purple is beautiful. We have Kazuki Fukushi now at the line, still rocking that Toyota Celica from last year. And huge flick initiation into that first inside clip, coming short off of it, but making up for it on the second inside zone, inside clip as he comes through the two outside zones, doing a great job through them, grabbing the next inside clip beautifully as he transitions to head back down the hill. Good job around them both for those inside clips as he finishes out his run.
He certainly does. Kazuki coming out strong once again this season. See that score on the board. And an 87 he'll get, moving himself into 18th position. Already back around to Jean Junkus, his GTR. He is clean start. Down the hill he comes. Sitting on that 84.7, trying to better that. Move himself up just a little bit, just to give him that safe position there for that top 32. Looking good so far on his second run. Could have been a little deeper there on that second outside zone, but grabs the inner clip in the keyhole. Back down the hill, grabbing the two inner clips and finishing out the run.
Nice run indeed from Zhao. Does better his score from his 84.7 to an 87 or an 86.
Certainly does, and here we go with Reese Tatterson on his second run, trying to better the 89.3.
Yeah, Reese sending it into that first inside clip, doing a great job. Wow, beautiful on the second clip as well, as he's right on the rumble strip, coming around, putting the car right up to the white line, and beautifully tight around that last inside clip of the horseshoe as he comes down the hill now, again putting the car exactly where it needs to go. And if this is a statement of how the battles are going to be today, the judges are going to have a lot of work ahead of them.
Absolutely super smooth run, and there it is, a 90 on the board, bettering that 89.3. Back around to Una Warnen. Trying to better the 87.3. Entering in this big BMW and tight to the inside clip. Grabs that second one as well. And banging off the limiter as he comes up that hill. Filling out that second outside zone as well. Great transition. Just super smooth through the course here is Yuna. and finishing it out. Really sort of making that car a little agile than it looks.
Yeah, it definitely does a lot of work, that's for sure.
Waiting on that third judge. And at 84.3, solid second score.
We got Jonathan Simpson back up to the line, heading down the hill for his last run here of qualifying for Group 5. He initiates in, putting the car almost backwards into that first inside clip, transitioning, getting that second inside clip as well. Getting nice and deep into the two outer zones. Very beautiful run from Jonathan Simpson as he comes back down this hill, sitting on that 89 and looking to improve it on this run as he stays on the throttle all the way to the finish line.
Yeah, he just might do it with that run. See here, it is going to be close. Trying to beat the 89. Can he work himself up into that 90s? And a 90.7 he certainly does. On to Ethan. Needs to better that score of a 77.7 if he wants to make it into the top 32 later today. A little wide off the inside clip. Grabs that second one and up the hill he comes. Ooh, and he's gonna drop a tire there on that second outside zone. Grabs the next inner clip. And down the hill he goes, trying to grab these last two final inside clips, and he does, and across that finish line. And look there, 85.7.
Definitely improves on his last score of that 77.7. Now we have Jake Wise sitting on a 79 into that first zone, a lot tighter into it, not as much angle as we've seen the other drivers, but still getting it done as he comes up the hill now, filling those two outside zones, really deep into that inside clip along the horseshoe as he comes back down the hill now, looking a lot more put together now on his second run as he finishes it up for his qualifying session.
And looking a lot better on that second run, and there it is, 83.7 on the board for Jake Wise. And it looks like that is going to be just not quite enough to make it into that top 32 with that lower score. Lazam's still there in that position. Martin Merrick sitting on the 84.7. Trying to better his score to give him a little extra room into that top 32. On throttle. Nice transition coming up the hill. A lot of speed here. Using that decel zone and filling that next outside zone as well. Smooth transition to come down the hill and firing it off. Really cooking it through the course here is Martin Merrick and finishing out that run.
Now Martin really wanting to keep his place there. As Martin ends up there with an 86.7 as we move on to Kazuki Fukushi for his final run of qualifying and the final run of Group 5 as he goes way too wide for that first inside clip, just grabbing that last hash mark as he comes up the top of the hill now, doing a good job on the outside zone as he sinks the car in, grabs the inside, transitions back. Really hesitant on that transition. The car didn't want to rotate as he comes down the hill now and finishes up his run.
Yeah, still not a bad run from Kazuki, trying to better the 87. He's still sitting inside that top 32. See if that is enough. Putting on that last judge there, and at 81. So not a bad second score for him, but he'll remain at that 87. And next up, Group 6. We'll take a short little break, load in that next group. We'll be right back again with more qualifying. Hello and welcome back to Group 6 of Round 1 Road Atlanta. Here for the 5th season of the Virtual Drift Championship. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Today we're almost at 1,000 viewers total. Again, super appreciate everybody sharing the stream out and cheering on for your favorite drivers in the chat today. It looks like we've got Alexander at the line ready to go. There he is. He is off for his first run of the 5th season. Alexander Shavrouk returning in the GT86. And looking good here on his first run of the day. Pouring on the angle into the second outside zone. Nice and tight to the inside clip. And pouring on the angle again, coming down the hill. Grabbing the inside clip and the final one as well. And across that finish line with all the angle there is Alexander in his GT86.
I think everybody's seeing how the scores have been playing out throughout the day and realizing, you know, they gotta bring their A game. They gotta go for it no matter what and lay it all down on the table. As we move now to Dan Dirks. Dan Dirks in that BMW. It's just a new livery on that car. As he washes out a little bit there as he tries to get that inside clip from his initiation. Comes up the hill now through the two outside zones. Lots of speed. Doing a great job through the horseshoe section as he transitions back down, grabbing the inside clip beautifully. The last two inside clips just beautifully as he finishes out his run.
Yeah, good start to the day for Dan Dirks there. We'll see what type of score comes out for him. An 86.3. That's going to be enough to put him into the top 32 later today. Brian Garcia waiting at the line, returning in his Aston. New model, looking fantastic. New D-Spec livery on it as well from Team D-Spec. Whoa, and really going wild for the initiation there. We'll wait and see if the judges will deem that a 0, as it still needs to be a chaseable run. He's getting it together though and fixing the run here, looking good, coming back down the hill and finishing out the run.
Yeah, just going for an amazing entry there, just trying to full send it and get as much angle as he could, but just couldn't hang on to it when it came time to getting into the actual zone. So Brian Garcia does put points down with a 79.3 as Christian Petrov now starts his first run of qualifying as he makes his initiation and comes up the hill. Doing a good job so far at keeping the run together. Nice angle through the two outer zones and the inside clip of the horseshoe as he comes back down the hill now. Grabbing the inside clip and the last one as well. Doing a great job there from Christian Petrov.
Yeah, pretty solid run to start things out. And look at there, a 90 on the board for Christian Petrov on his first run. Octavian sitting at the line, ready to go. He's through the chicane and down the hill. First run of the day and first VDC run for Octavian here on the throttle. And looking a little tentative through those first inside clips, but very good coming up the hill and filling out those outside zones. Grabbing that next inside clip as well. Looking really good in his S14 here. Just needs to grab that last and final one, and he does, and looking smooth. Just needs to button up that initiation and entry, and he might put him into the top 32. 83, just falling short of it. And Abdulaziz Al-Harbi up next. You know, I fixed his livery, and it's still coming up white for me, so I'm not sure.
I was gonna say I got the same thing on my end too, so Abdul normally has some really nice liveries, but as he comes for his run here so far, doing a great job through the first two inside clips, really carrying the speed up. Had to slow right up for that second outside zone to make sure he actually didn't go off course. He was carrying a lot of speed coming up to it. Now buttoning it up, coming down the hill, doing a great job through the last two inside clips and coming across that line.
Yeah, he really was just flying up that hill. And a 78.7, so just shy of making it into top 32, but he's got another run to make it on in there, and we certainly know he is capable. And next up, Tyler Nelson in his Shelby Mustang and through the chicane. Supercharger screaming down the hill and entering in. And Tyler looking good across that first and second inside clip. Oh, pouring out all the angle coming up the hill. It looks like he decels maybe a little early, coming up short for the second outside zone. Pouring on the angle before he transitions back down the hill. And pours on the angle again. And another snappy transition to finish out the course. And an 87.7 for Tyler Nelson.
Not bad for his first run. A few things to work on and fix up for the second one. But again, all these guys, the top 32, there's still, you know, 2 more groups of qualifying to go through. So who knows what the top 32 will look like by the time we get there. But for now, we have Oliver Eppinger coming in his BMW, which I believe is a new car to him as well, as he just goes a little shallow coming out of that first inside clip, grabs second one beautifully, coming into the 2 outside zones, dropping a tire, but making up for it on the next inside clip as he transitions back down the hill, staying on that throttle the whole way through, transitioning beautifully into the last inside zone and across the line.
Absolutely. Looking good as Oliver, as you said, switching from the Mark IV Supra last year into the E92 and looking comfortable in it with a 86.7 will be his first run. Next up, Alexander Shavruk sitting on the 89 and currently 14th.
Yeah, Alexander making his way down the hill in that GT86. Lots of angle coming into that first clip. Looking beautiful as he comes up the hill. Lots of angle again coming through the 2 outer zones. Really just pouring it on here for his second and final run of qualifying, as he is just doing a great job here through it, putting the car where it needs to go and laying on that hammer.
He certainly did, really going after beating that 89. And he does by 0.3, an 89.3 for Alexander Shavruk. Next up, Dan Dirk. He'll be trying to better the 86.3 in his E46. Same car Dan drives in real life as well. Modeled beautifully here. And across that inside clip, does drop a tire on that first rumble strip, and the second one's okay, and then he fills in that second outside zone as well. Looking really smooth here as Dan Dirks pours on the angle to go down the hill, hangs on to it as well, and across that finish line is Dan Dirks.
Getting an 83.7 for his run as we move over to Brian Garcia from D-Spec. Really going for it in that Austin Martin TB9 as he comes up the hill, holding a nice good angle through the 2 outside zones as he really sharpens it up and gets it around the horseshoe, transitions to come back down the hill. Now he's really starting to get that angle maxed out as he comes through the last inside clip and across that line.
Yeah, looking a lot better than his first run and first initiation, giving him that 79.3 on his first run. This one should definitely better it, and it does with the 87.3. And back around to Christian Petrov, currently sitting on that 90. Smooth initiation. Does look like he's dropping a lot of speed, though, for that first turn. But gets it together to come up the hill and holding on to the angle all the way up. That was probably the craziest uphill run we've seen all day. Just holding it together and finishing out his run again, really going after it, trying to better that 90.
Christian is really sending it up that hill, just put all the power down and just, hey, we're going to go for all the angle we can find. And oh, he found it on those lock stops.
He certainly did, and gets another 90 on the board.
We have Octavian Chalaru heading off for his second run, sitting on that 83, so he's definitely going to need to improve it. Let's see if he can fix it up from his first run. Beautiful job there through that first inside clip as he climbs up the hill. Beautiful angle, going really wide, having to slope the car, drops 2 tires, but keeps it together. Just a deduction there for the 2 tire drop as he comes back down the hill, going through these last 2 inside clips. Aside from that tire drop, an amazing run from Octavian.
Yeah, sure was. Excuse me. Looking really good, other than dropping those 2 tires at the top of the hill, and the score will reflect with that 75.3, and we're back around to Abdulaziz Al Harbi for his second run, trying to better the 78.7. He needs to make it into that top 32. He's gonna go for the big Manji entry here. See if it pays off, and he does grab that first inside clip. Nice transition to come up the hill here, holds on to the angle, pours on a little bit more to come into that second outside zone. Little off the inside clip there inside the keyhole. Good transition coming back down. Goes a little wide, but does catch the inside clip. And the final one, oh, it goes across that line. See if that will be enough to push him on into that top 32. And at 82.7, unfortunately is going to fall just shy of that top 32. But good runs from Abdulaziz. It's a tough one today.
Oh, it's going to be so close by the end of the day, and with this new averaging system, everyone's got to be on the A game, bring it every single event, as we're watching Tyler Nelson here come through the course, dropping that tire on the outside zone, dipping into the grass a little bit on the second outside zone. Looked like he missed out a little bit on that first inside clip as well before he climbed up the hill, but now coming down, getting it beautifully buttoned up for those last 2 inside clips, coming right up and touching them.
Yeah, another one really going after it, trying to better their score. I'm not sure if this time it'll pay off, trying to better the 87.7. It's going to be close, and at 84 for Tyler Nelson's second run. And on to Oliver Eppinger, again switching from that Supra into the E92 this season. He'll enter this thing in. And looking really smooth through that first inside clip. Does drop 2 inside on the second inside clip going up the hill, but grabs the 2 outside zones. And that next inside clip as well. Good transition coming back down the hill. Holds it together. And another good solid run for Oliver Eppinger. Look at there, 84.7 for Oliver Eppinger. And next up, we've got Group 7, so another very small break. We've got 8 groups today. Group 7 is up next, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back, loaded in. Group 6, Jean Vita Road, ready at the line, waiting on those drivers to finish up their last and final practice run.
Group 7.
Are we Group 7? Yeah, Group 7 and then Group 8. You are correct. And it looks like they're going to take some practice runs first. And the judges sort them out. Get ready for the next group. Again, I'd like to thank Riproll for sponsoring our trophy this season for the champion, and we can't wait to show that thing off when it is ready. Should be their last and final practice runs. There we go. We can hear him come to the line. Jean Vita Road. In that A90 Supra. Just giving him the go-ahead. Entering it is Jean Vita Road. A little wide across that first inside clip, but snappy transition coming up the hill. Oh, and goes a little bit too far across that yellow line. Drops a little bit of a tire. And here he comes back down the hill. Looking solid and dialed in this A90 Supra, and super snappy transition again there. You finish out that run.
I don't know. I quite like snipey transitions.
It was very snipey. He sniped that one out.
He sure did. And Joe Vitterode ending up with a score of 86. We have Andreas Lene at the line in his A90 Supra.
I'm not sure judges have given him the go-ahead to leave the line.
Quite yet.
It's only got just a few seconds before he is given a 0 for not leaving the line on time. And there he goes.
Down comes Andreas. The new car this year, I believe this is his first season with the A90 Supras. He has a little bit of a correction there with the wheels coming into that first inside clip, but does manage to grab it as he comes up the hill now, really slowing up for that outside zone and leaving it a bit early, taking a weird line through the horseshoe, but making it through as he transitions back down the hill now. This is where he grabs the inside clips quite nicely as he comes and finishes out his first run of qualifying.
And not too bad by Andreas for his first run of Season 5. Waiting on that last judge there. And look at there, 85.7. On to Luciano in his S13. Really nice with that Link ECU livery. And up the hill he comes, dropping a tire along that rumble strip and rides that rumble strip all the way up and putting a line on the white line there. Looking really good as Luciano here. Coming back down the hill. Grabbing those last and final inside clips, and across the line he goes.
Good run indeed from Luciano.
Absolutely, and gets to 87.3, putting him into the top 32.
Next up, we have Mateus Noregen. Is in this S14 as he comes down the hill. Beautiful entry and grabbing that first inside clip. Very nice. Nice transition. Going, ooh, dropping tires though in the first outside zone. He grabs the second inside zone, but misses out on that inside clip before coming back down the hill, trying to get the car placed in the right spot. He gets it good on the last inside clip as well before finishing out his run.
Yeah, pretty solid run there from Matthias. Start out his season 5. At 86 on the board, he'll need a higher second score to really push him up into that top 32. Next up, we've got Matthias Cebulski. Is in that HGK E46. Goes for the big flick there. Doesn't quite get to the angle though on initiation, but looking better as he is coming up the hill here. Just foot to the floor, full commitment, and filling both those outside zones. Does go a little wide around that inside clip in the keyhole. Back down the hill he goes. And a nice and final transition to finish out his first run. And an 85.3 for Mateos on his first run.
Next up now we have Alan Hines in the Pro Drift Academy S15. Not to be mistaken with Reese Satterson's. They're very, I think, the exact same car. But this one is Alan Hines. He comes through that first inside clip. Great initiation. Really grabbing that second inside clip as well. And beautiful through the outside zones, right on the lock stops. He grabs that inside clip, leaving the horseshoe. Nice smooth transition as he lines the car up to grab the last two inside clips and across that line.
A really solid run from Alan Hines, as we're used to seeing from him during qualifying. It's going to be a high score here, seeing that 61.3 already, waiting on the next judge. And a 92.3 for Alan Hines. Next, Adriel Mercado. Firing off through the chicane there. And going for it on initiation. Really dropping a lot of speed though. Picks it back up. Here he comes up the hill. Riding the rumble strip really nicely. Filling that second outside zone as well. Pouring on the angle there before he comes back down the hill. Catching the next inside clip. And that last and final one. And across the finish line, Adriel Mercado.
Love for Adriel going in the chat. You guys are blowing it up.
Tons of love for Adriel, always. And at 82.7, so he will need a better score on his second run to move up into that top 32 today.
Next up is Brandon Williams, another long-standing VDC driver in that JZX. Dropping a tire there on that second outside zone or inside clip as he comes through the outside zones now, pouring on the angle to try and make that inside clip work, which it sure does. He transitions back down the hill, getting that inside clip, and the final transition is done and his run is over.
Yeah, and really smooth from Brandon as always in that big chaser. Same car from last season, just new livery and looking great in the red. And at 86.3 from Brandon Williams. And on to Jean Vita, trying to better that 86. There he is at the line, ready to go, waiting on the judges. He's off Jean Vita for his second run. Entering the A90 Supra. Up the hill he comes, riding that rumble strip, pouring on the angle there to come into that second outside zone. Grabbing the next inside clip as well. Good transition to come down the hill. good solid run from Jean Viterot, trying to better that 86.
Jean Viterot looking very at home in that 890 Supra. It looks very dialed in for him, and he does better his score.
He certainly does, and moves up into the 25th position.
Andreas Linné now coming in for his second run, sitting on that 85.7, so he knows he has to improve it. Really punts that that inside clip there as he tries to make his way up the hill. A little shaky there as he goes really wide, and he's going to lose it. And that is going to be the end of his run for Andreas, leaving him on that 85.7.
It certainly will. So it will remain the 85.7 and the 0 on the board for Andreas. That's all right. We'll see him next round. Again for qualifying, and Luciano, next driver, trying to better his 87.3. Really nice S13 here, entering in, dropping a lot of speed again. Seeing more and more drivers dropping just a ton of speed on initiation and then getting back to it. But look at there, riding the rumble strip, coming up the hill, getting all the way to that yellow line and filling the next outside zone. Great run there through the horseshoe and picking up these last and final inside clips and across that finish line.
Luciano doing a very good job on those two outside zones. We go back now to Matthias Nordingen. Matthias bringing it in a lot nicer through that initiation up the hill now. Beautiful through the first two inside clips. Left the outside zone just a tad early, it looked like, but making it work as he goes just a little wide for the inside clip. Transitions back down the hill, grabbing the last two inside clips quite nicely. He finishes up his second run of qualifying.
Yeah, looked a lot better on initiation there from Matthias. Again, trying to better that 86. And falls just shy with an 84, so he'll remain with that 86 on the board. And on to Matthias Cybulski. His second run needs to better that 85.3. Entering that E46 in and on throttle. Really flying up the hill now. Squatting that rear down. And filling that outside zone. Smooth transition coming down the hill. Smooth line as well. And a solid run from Mateos in that E46.
And Mateo's really buttoning it up there. I mean, already sitting on an 85.3, so, and now score improving as well. Mateos ends up with an 86.7 over his 85.3. But now, Alan Hines on a 92.3 already. Let's see what he can do for his final run. Lay it all out on the table there, Alan, as he comes up the hill. Full throttle, really on the angle there, just touching that white line to the grass. Beautiful transition back to come down the hill. Just power in all the right spots. What a great run there from Alan.
Yeah, really solid, and a lot of impact on that run from Alan Hines as we remember the new criteria. And a 96. On to Adriel Mercado, needs to better that 82.7. He wants to make it into top 32 battles today. Better on the initiation there, smooth across that first inside clip. Grabs that second one as well. And all the way up, riding the rumble strip to the yellow line. Smooth line here, pouring on the angle. And on the throttle is Adriel Mercado. And finishing it out strong, Adriel Mercado. See if that is enough.
That was a very nice run by Adriel there.
And he'll end up with an 86 on the board. And it's going to be just shy of that top 32.
as Brandon Williams now coming to finish off Group 7 of our qualifying. Going off again on that second inside clip, but making it work through the two outer zones, kicking up a bit of grass just as he comes in for the inside clip. Transitions to come back down the hill now. He grabs the inside clips very nicely and putting on a lot of angle right there at the end just before the finish line.
Yeah, he certainly did. Was a pretty smooth run, but yeah, it is going to be enough to get that 87.7. And that is going to round up Group 7. We've got our last and final group of qualifying up next. Again, another very short break while we load them in, and we'll be right back with the last group of qualifying for Round 1, Road Atlanta. All right, as you can see, we've got our last and final group, Group 8, loaded into the server and ready to go. Minor hiccup, but we're good to go now. And starting the group off will be Daniel Mora, then Yoni Matanen, Bruno Sturger, Ali Arslan, Caleb Dauphiné, Christoph Izadon, Stefan Petrov, and Tristan O'Leary rounding out our last and final group of qualifying today.
I'm so excited to see how this top 32 list is going to look by the end of this group. I mean, it's still anybody's game to get into that top 32.
Absolutely. The scores have been so close today. Everybody's been on it. There hasn't been a single 00 all day. Everybody's gotten some sort of score. The judge has given the drivers their notification on the last practice run, and we'll see them all go down in that large train. Daniel Mora coming to the line. He said he's ready. Now we just wait on judges to send him off. First driver of the last and final group of round 1 here at Road Atlanta. Here he comes down the hill, initiating in. Picking up throttle and tight to that first inside clip. Nice transition across the second one as well. And looking really smooth here through the course. Running in the S13 this year. Daniel is looking planted. What a great run to start out the last and final group.
Like I said, I think all these drivers now, they know they have to lay it down, and whew, what a score from Daniel Mora.
Absolutely, a 90.3 from Daniel.
We got Yoni Matanen now coming down in that Mercedes Tronus AMG livery on it. Just a little wide out on that first inside clip, but making it work for the second and bringing it into these outer zones. Very good job around the horseshoe as he transitions back down the hill. You see him grab that inside clip as well. Good job. Just could have been a little deeper on that last inside clip as well, but a good run there from Yoni for his first run.
It certainly was, and really swinging that big Mercedes around the track there. Waiting on those judges, and the 88.3 for his first run, Yoni Matanen. And on to Bruno Sturger, returning in his Hyundai Genesis. New livery for Bruno. Entering in, does wash a little wide there, making his transition a little late. Trying to hold it together coming up the hill. He will end up filling out that second outside zone. And looks like he's settled into his run now. And he's going to pick up those last and final ones as well. And across the finish line, Bruno Sturger.
Kind of cool to see a Genesis.
There's 83 on the board, so falling just short of that top 32, but he's got another chance to do it.
Now Ali Arslan in the S15, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a new car as well. I think he was in an S13 last year. But great initiation as he grabs that inside clip. Good transition to grab the second one. Right on the rumble strip as he comes up to the first outside zone and through the second. Little adjustment there as he tried to grab most of that inside clip at the end of the horseshoe as he comes back down the hill now. And there it is, grabbing those last two inside clips before he finishes, crosses the line.
Yeah, solid run from Ali, and you called it correct. He was in that S13 last season. Now upgrading to that S15 and looking good. And look at there, a 90.3 for Ali Arslan, putting him in 10th place currently. And on to Caleb Dauphiné in his New Edge Mustang. Got a chance
Love
to drive this thing as well, and this thing is wild. He chose to keep the live axle and not go to the IRS rear. And the rear of this thing is settled anyway. He does fall short there of that second outside zone. Car makes just a ton of forward bite. Here he comes down the hill, firing off. And snappy transition to finish out his run.
Very awesome car there by Caleb Duffney. I love it. It's cool to see the new Edge Mustang, and good run by him as well. A couple mistakes, but nothing he can't fix up on the second run. Stefan Petrov now. Oh, nope, I am wrong on that. Nope, I am right on that.
I'm not sure who just went out of order.
It was Christoph Dizadon. His name is all the way at the end. So I apologize, Christoph, there for
Oh, it certainly was.
not getting the run to look at. We apologize. The name was out of order. It's at the very end. Our little list here goes in order, so we can just click, 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 and badly hit the wrong button.
Now we've got Stefan Petrov.
We sure do. In the GTR R35. But Christoph getting an 85.7 for his run there. As you see that John Player's special livery on the GTR as he comes up the hill into the two outside zones. Making the GTR work around these corners. He transitions to come back down the hill now. Lots of angle as he comes into that first inside clip and the second as well before finishing out his run.
He certainly does. A new car for Stefan Petrov this year and looking good in it. Fortunately, does fall short with that 82 on the board. He'll need to better that run to make it into the top 32. And this is the last and final group and last driver as well. This is his first run, so we've got another set of runs to go. Here's Tristan O'Leary entering in across that first inside clip. And up the hill he goes. Looking smooth so far in his S13. Really nice line there through the keyhole and back down the hill. And grabbing those last and final inside clips and across the finish line.
Tristan the Train O'Leary coming out strong for his debut here at the Virtual Drift Championship. He actually won the championship for the feeder series, so definitely great to see from him.
Absolutely, and here we go back to Daniel Mora down the hill trying to better the 90.3. He is currently into that top 32. And up the hill he comes, looking really smooth on his first run and super smooth here up the hill. Didn't change his angle one bit. And tight to the inside clip. Smooth transition as well. One of the smoothest I think we've seen all day long. Daniel Mora. And a nice second score with that 87.3, solidifying that 90 and probably that position.
Yeah, as we have Joni Matanen now on that 88.3. Last and final run of his qualifying. So we're going to see how he does there as he grabs that inside clip. A lot better than his first run. He comes up the hill now. Beautiful. Just drops a little bit, kicks up a little bit of dirt there as he comes through that outside zone. Transitions now to come through down the hill. A little deeper now into missing out on the, we're not missing out, but just a little shallow there on that final inside clip as well.
Yeah, he certainly was. But sitting on that 88.3, and it will remain. He'll get that 84.7. On to Bruno Sturger, who needs to better this 83 that he has on the board so far if he wants to make it into top 32. Entering in, a lot of speed here. He's gonna wash out, pick up the throttle, and he does. Sticks it on the course. Big correction there. Fortunate to see from Bruno. But he's gonna get it together for the rest of this run. And he'll finish it out for his second run.
Bruno coming in with 81.3 for his second run there. So, little few points down from his 83. Now we have Ali Arslan sitting on that 90.3. Huge initiation, just touching the front of that inside clip with his front bumper as he comes up the hill now. Nice and locked in. Little adjustment there to re-get the angle as he comes through the rest of the horseshoe out of those two outside zones. Transitions back down the hill now, but still right on throttle. Beautiful through the first inside clip down the hill, but a little wide on the second one.
And really pouring on the angle there to finish out his run as well. And at 87 he'll get for his second score. Again, probably solidifying that 10th place that he's holding on to now. Here we go, back to Caleb Dauphiné in that new Edge Mustang. Going for the big flick here. Needs to better that 82 if he wants to get into top 32. Tight to the inside clip, as well as the second one. And here he comes up the hill, riding the rumble strip. Filling out that next outside zone. And a good transition to come back down the hill here. Oh, and does cut over that last inside clip just a little bit across the rumble strip. But he'll finish it out, and we'll have to see if it's going to be enough to push him on into that top 32, and it will. 87 on the board for Caleb Dauphiné.
Good job from Caleb there on his second run. Now we have Christoph Dizadon in the S15, and this time we're watching you. We watch him Manji into his initiation there. Beautiful up to that first inside clip as he comes up and over the hill. Nicely done through the two outside zones as he rounds it out to grab that inside clip. Transitions to come back down the hill. Nice and tight to those inside clips as well as he finishes out his second run.
He certainly does. And trying to better the 87 or 85.7. Doesn't quite need to. And he does anyway, 88.7. On to Stefan Petrov, his GTR. New car for Stefan this season. Entering in. Oh, almost comes to a stop there before he picks up throttle again. And here he comes up the hill. Now he's moving. And going all the way to the top, riding the white line along that outside zone. And coming back down the hill in this big GTR. He's going to pick up that inside clip as well as the last one and across the finish line.
Wow. Good job there from Stephen Petrov, getting a 90.7 there on his second run as we have our final qualifying run. Tristan O'Leary making his way through, really doing a good job up the hill as he's putting the car where it needs to be in the zones, nice and tight around the inside clip before transitioning back down to the hill. Again, nice and tight on that inside clip and the last one as well, and keeping it hung out all the way to the end.
He certainly does. See if that's enough to move him up a couple of positions. And at 89.7 from Tristan O'Leary. And that is going to round out round one Road Atlanta qualifying today.
What a qualifying session that was. Every driver has just brought their A game for this opening round, and amazing scores have come of it.
They certainly did, with Erikas Jerkis remaining at that number one qualifier with a 96.3. Alan Hines right behind him with a 96. Cal Fonseca with a 94. Zach O'Sullivan, rookie driver, 92.3. Tikon Peleskim, our season 4 champion, right behind him with a 92. Shoma Takaya with a 90.7. Jonathan Simpson with that 90.7 as well as Stephen Petrov, a bunch of 90.7s on the board there. As you see, as we go through all the way down to the top 16, Anthony Serrano rounding it off there with a 89.7, along with Trishan O'Leary and his 89.7. We go on 17 through 24. Alexander Holsner rounding off the top 24 with the 87.7. Just behind Derek Bardot with the 88. And then 25 through 32, Caleb Dauphiné making it into that top 32 with that 87 and his New Edge Mustang.
Wow, what an intense qualifying. I mean, and now again, we are using the averaging system now, so it's all three runs are judged out of 100, all three judges judge out of 100 each, and then the average from those three is what gets us our final score.
Absolutely, they certainly do. So we will return shortly with the top 32. We'll post it, let everybody know when we're back live. Join us again in about 30 minutes to an hour for top 32, round 1, Road Atlanta Virtual Drift Championship. Thank you everybody for sticking around and watching the action, and we'll return shortly.